ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all who are listening to this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Last two consecutive Sundays, we could not hold this class on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, here we are resuming again our deliberation on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in 6th chapter, and until now we have seen up to the 36th verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In the 35th verse, Bhagwan had said to Arjuna the secret of the concentration of mind, the secret of controlling the mind. Mano dur nigraham chalam. It is very difficult to do this nigraha, that is to bring this mind under control. So how it to do? Then he said that, but to abhyasena, with the help of abhyasa, and vairagya, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihate, with the help of abhyasa and vairagya, these two things. As I had simply broken it down, that it is doing what you are supposed to do and not doing, refraining, desisting from what you are not supposed to do. So, seeing these two things, something important to note is abhyasa, which is of pravrutti, which is action, and vairagya is of the nature of inaction, not to do something. Vairagya is essentially more of a psychological disposition, that desire, craving, longing, running after certain things, they should be uprooted out, that man has to vanquish, win over those yearnings, those pangs within oneself, within one's heart. So essentially, Vairagya is that to rise above our lower desires, lower objectives, objectives that which are not contributing positively towards the goal which you are striving, which you are striving for. So, rising above those hankerings, that is vairagya, and abhyasa is the practice. So, practice of what? So, if you see this word, so it is abhyasa. This word has two parts, abhi and asa, abhyasa. Now, this is the root verb in this is as, which basically means to throw. But there are many words are formed out of that. That like here, it's one form asa is to sit. That's why we say asana, or like upaveshanam or sitting. These words come from it, abhi asa. So you comprehensively locate, establishes your mind onto something, attaches. So essentially it means the concentration. Us, or to throw. What to throw? To throw your mind, and it should stick to it on particular some object of your meditation, of your concentration, wherever you are focusing into, establishing your mind, that is abhyasa. So it is not mechanical thing. It is not mechanical thing. So doing just labor, unless your abhi, this prefix always shows the comprehensivity of something, abhi, or shubha, vidhayak. These are the meaning comes from the abhi. Abhijita, this word, comprehensive meaning. Abhi always stand for something shubha, not ashubha. So it means that the sense of sattva rising above your tamasic and rajasic faculties. That it is not forceful, it is not motivated by something just your selfishness. No, it is a higher sense that man achieves through in his efforts. That self-absorption, self-contentment, self-fulfillment, and then only those efforts come to the rank of abhyasa. It is something not only not doing mechanically by the force of a will or some circumstances, rising about it, losing, becoming one with it, then it is abhyasa. Putting your heart and soul into it, then it is abhyasa. That practice itself becomes fulfillment, then it is abhyasa. That practice becoming fulfillment, satisfaction, then it is abhyasa. Only you are hankering after some goal, and that's why you are doing it, and your whole heart is not in your effort. If you are dragged by your past or pulled by your some future ambition, dream or something, you cannot attain abhyasa. For abhyasa, you have to be present there wholeheartedly. Even forget yourself, forget everything else, and lose yourself into it, then it is abhyasa. So it's wonderful idea. So abhyasa, many people say either repetition or something study. So trying to go on reading or even trying to memorize or probably understanding. Abhyasa starts after that. Remember, when this is taught, the method of learning is oral, and it is probably the most difficult. So immediately just by this process, a lot of students will be disqualified. So there would be teacher, he would be saying something. So not only students should understand, students should get by heart as soon as teacher says. So he must have a lot of cerebral power, visualization, simulation. These capacities must be very well proliferated into the disciple, into the student. Then only he would be qualified to be a student, not like today's. So you have written something, you have visual something. So there are so many means given to you so that you can correlate with what we call as immersive experience, engaging more and more of our senses. Taking more and more of your help is actually weaken you. It is for the lower candidates who are not qualified. So when abhyasa is said, when abhyasa is taught, abhyasa is being taught from all the time, since it is the route to perfection, it is the route, it is the path to excellence. So in this case, so it is not only repeating and not only understanding, it starts afterwards. That the process of assimilation, the process of concentration, to process of creating something where you are extremely focusing, becoming one with it, then it comes to the rank of abhyasa. So abhyasa is not a menial job. Abhyasa is not a mechanical thing. Abhyasa is bringing your heart to that level, to the level of sattva. It must reflect in your effort, and then it is abhyasa. So when this abhyasa comes, it is not possible without vairagya. Vairagya is this mental disposition that man, a human being, understand the futility of his efforts which he had been putting into certain things, and they are vain, and they does not yield, and he has tried and he has regretted that man is picked by doing such things and such useless stuff, and he is irritated, vexed upon himself, and he decides for once and for all that I will not strive those things, I will not go by that way, and he makes a resolution, forms a mind, and try to focus on the rightful thing, vairagya. So it is with this mental disposition he has to come, this understanding, this maturity, this resolve has to come for that individual to become successful, to able to tame the mind, to able to deal with the mind, to be able to think of controlling the mind, to put it to task. So in the next verse we see that he says, Bhagavan says that asanyatatmana yoga dushprapa iti me mati, that in my opinion, for the people, or say with the help of such a mind, atmana, it is in the third case, tritiya vibhakti, it is instrumental case. So mind has an instrument. With the help of such mind, which is asayata, which is aniyantrita, which is uncontrolled, undisciplined. If it is mind is undisciplined, this yoga is very difficult to get. Dushprapa. This dushprapa iti me mati. This is my opinion, according to me. So, absolutely, that is the question. Arjuna asked that how if my mind is how to control the mind? This to control the mind is very difficult. Bhagavan is saying that yes, for the uncontrolled mind, undisciplined mind, this yoga is very difficult. But vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo avaptum upayatah. So vashyatmana, with the help of the mind which is under control. Now these are the two things that yoga for the undisciplined mind is difficult. For the mind, with the help of the mind which is under control, vashyatmana, tu yatata. So, what is then he trying? Yatata means by trying, by doing efforts, by striving. Yatata. So, if mind is controlled, then what is he striving for? So, these are the two things. One is called the contextual or limited control of the mind, that which is necessary for the effort. And one, what Bhagwan is saying, with the help of such disposition, with the help of such, then that person should try for, this is abhyasa, to concentrate. Now effort starts afterwards. The positive efforts with which a progress will be attained. Yatata. So after controlling the mind, efforts are starting. Vashyatmana tu yatata. With the help of disciplined mind, if he tries, shakya, it is possible. Avaptum, that is praptum, that to attain this yoga is absolute union, the absolute realization of the highest state of the mind. If we want to say in the context of the yoga, if we do not want to say God or anything else, or we do not want to become philosophical or devotional, highest experience a human being can have, possible, which is possible, a highest possible experience a human being can have, there cannot be anything higher than that. That is absolute. There is no confusion about this. That because it is a very paradoxical things that human being attains it after absolutely annihilating himself, absolutely wiping out his self-consciousness, the idea of the self, individuality, and he attains infinity. There cannot be bigger than the infinity. That's why it is called as infinite, ananta. So that is going to be, that highest could be possible when the such person who has disciplined his mind. Vashya atmana tu yatata. After that, if he tries, now this is the abhyas, yatata. His mind is disciplined, his mind is controlled. Now he is trying, now he is doing abhyasa. That focusing, concentrating, now he is trying to create, now he is trying to do some actual work. Yatata. Shakyo avaptum upayata. Upayata means through the prescribed ways, the paths of the yoga, through the instruction of the Guru. So that is possible. So the first line says about asanyatatmana yoga dushprapa iti me mati. It talks about the vairagya. Unless vairagya, you have the vairagya. Second line talks about the abhyasa. If you have that and you have controlled, discipline your mind is collected, and now you want focus, then abhyasa is possible. So vairagya comes, and then only abhyasa is possible. So our expenditure on the unwanted things, this mental expenditure, our energy is limited. We as a human being, unless we bring in something, we can create lot of energy, this mental energy within ourselves. It is possible. A person to person, Swami Vivekananda said this. What is the difference between a person and person? That somebody is so great and somebody is so mean and nothing. What is the difference? He says this is the only difference. The difference of the power of concentration of his mind. This is the only tool a man can generate tremendous energy. Tremendous possibilities he open. His faculties are accentuated to such a height, to such a peak. They almost seem to us unearthly, non-human, humanly impossible. Astounding, phenomenal. That human being cannot do that. The only way to it is this through the power of concentration of the mind. Because our mind is so distracted and distributed and frittered, we do not experience his power. So, but there are instances when we have little glimpse of it, whosoever he is, that sometimes we ourselves surprise our own self, that how fast, how quick, and how easily you could do something that it is not your usual self. Probably you are studying and something you are that your mind very easily concentrates and you move very fast, so to say, for example. But why it cannot be your usual state and you can have still superior experience sometimes occasionally? It's entirely possible. It becomes there are many people, student to student, many times these people who are preparing for different exams, etc. Some students they prepare 10 and 12 and 14, 16 hours study. But how much is the output? You are not going to get evaluated according to how many hours you have spent. Swami Vivekananda said this again, that he said that if he has to born again and learn everything else from afresh, so he said that what I will do is first master this art of concentration of mind. And then the mind well equipped, well trained, whenever and whatsoever, on whatsoever subject he throws his mind, it will immediately, instantaneously, or very easily, it will grasp the content of it. We have seen that Swamiji had phenomenal power, that he could just see at the page and he would have got the content of it and he could turn it. Not only he would have understood it, but he could quote from such pages, line by line. So it is not like that he is seeing, or generally we are probably skimming through the pages. It is not like that. He says that concentration of mind, this is the secret of education, secret of learning. So to this, to acquire this secret, to master this art of concentration. So these are the two things Bhagwan had said. So now Arjuna is his thought as if broken by Arjuna's question. Now Arjuna says something. Arjuna interrupts. He says that he is also, Arjuna, in such a state of mind that suppose a kind of a person, he is not willing to do something. Somebody is his friend maybe, motivating him. So to do something, to go by that you can do and all that, and somehow suppose he was so despondent, so emotionally overwhelmed, and gone to the total extreme of negativity and all that, like the case of Arjuna. He says that he would prefer to beg alms and live by that instead of taking the food drenched with the blood of his kith and kins, etc. He is Kshatriya. And it is not his way, that is his duty bound, that he must fight, etc. etc. From that point onwards, now Bhagwan is teaching that what is truth, what is the path, what is the dharma, what is the objective of a human being, how this life should be lived, what is the highest to be attained, and how karma also is the path, etc. All these things are being talked about. As soon as Bhagwan, he said that, then he came with the excuse, mind is very difficult to control. Then Bhagwan said, through practice, through abhyasa, through hard work, it has to be attained. Yes, indeed it is difficult, but that is the way. This is how you have to, our focus should be on that how I should practice. And it's a long time to come out, and how Krishna is dealing with him very patiently. So he comes out with another question. And what he says, first he asked, see, you are saying this all great things about how this yoga is to be attained, everything. He has no argument about it now. That is all right. Mind is difficult to control. So, meaning to say, please excuse me. So, something. So, you are like cajoling a child to do something. And children are very smart. They come with some kind of excuse. So, here Arjuna is again coming out with another question. Now, what does he say? Ayati shraddhayo peto yoga chalita manasah aprapya yoga sansiddhim kam gatim Krishna gacchati. He says. Now in 2-3 verses. Now Arjuna is saying that ayati, that yati is the person who has disciplined his mind, who has controlled his mind. He is yati. Ayati, the person who has not, who has failed to control his mind. He's not been successful in that way. Ayati, such a person. But he has some other qualities. Like he say, Shraddhaya upeta, that he has faith. He had genuinely good intentions. Shraddhaya upeta, with the which is having that, with equipped with Shraddhaya, endowed with Shraddha. Such a person, if his mind, manasah, yoga chalita, if he slips from the path of the yoga, he digress from the path of yoga, that he cannot continue and take to the vain efforts, yogat chalita manasa, such a person, that he will definitely aprapya yoga samsiddhim, that he will not attain the fruits, the culmination the epitome of yoga, yoga samsiddhim aprapya, he will not attain those things. And he says, for such a person, of such a person, kam gatim Krishna gacchati. To which way Krishna, to which gati he goes. So, he knows, he first said that mind is very difficult to control. Bhagavan says, yes, it has to be, indeed it's difficult to control, but one has to work for it. So, and he says, then Arjuna says that if he cannot do so, then what way that person will go? This is the question Arjuna puts. So fear in the heart, that he is not able to dare to commit to the path, to such a thing, to face our own mind. This is the greatest fear, to face ourselves. We would be able to manage to face many other things of the world, where it is very difficult to face ourselves, our own fear within our own heart. To admit our own mistakes, to admit our own fear, to admit our own wrongdoings. And not only that, and to then admit and set ourselves for the course correction, to face and handle our mind. So this fear that I will not be able to, perhaps I will not succeed, I am not meant for that, it looks too tough, it looks too difficult, how do I dare? That the lack of self-confidence, he cannot believe that whether he should take it up or not. So he again, so because it is difficult, so let's do an easy thing. This is the option. But what Krishna will say, that you can take an easier thing or not, or what way he should approach. So this is the now Arjuna's quandary, his dilemma. Next he says, he continues in 3 verses, and he now elaborates very visually, in a picturesque language, he says this thing, that kachit na ubhaya vibhrashta chinna abhramiva nashyati apratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmana pati. Then see, this is, he very well understand brahmana pati, that this is path to the highest, this is path to the infinite, this is the path, brahmana pati. That he says that which way he will go, or that like kachit, that that somebody or something, that ubhaya vibhrashta means, he say, from the path of this spirituality or the path of otherwise ordinarily he would take, which would be have been consoling, not be righteous or meritorious, but something, the second compromise, which he would have thought to take up. So here Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, he says, from the path of yoga and karma, both. So karma, in the sense of Shankaracharya, is the path of the world, and yoga is the path of the spirituality, paramartha and sansara. Whether he will be deprived, that he will fall for from both, that he will not attain anything of ihalok or parmartha. Kachna ubhaya, both these things, vibhrashta, that comprehensively destroyed of both things. Bhrashta, that corrupted, or that not any of these things good enough. Vibhrashta. Chinna, that frittered, destroyed. Chinna. So, like he says, Chinna Brahmyo, that is separated. Abhramima is the cloud, a cloud which is separated from the its other association, and it simply floats away in directionlessly. So whether it will be destroyed, nashyati, in this way, that whether this will not happen. So this is the question, that apratishta, that he does not have any support anywhere now. Apratishta. Mahabaho, he is saying this to Krishna. Mahabaho, that person vimudha, deluded on the path of the Brahman. So very Arjuna is in such a poetic way he put it, that how dire is the circumstances. So like a cloud which is separated from air, and it simply goes on floating directionlessly and becomes destroyed. So like that person, whether he will fall from both ubhaya vibhrashta and supportless, that person on the path of this deluded on the path of Brahman. So whether that will be the situation of that person, this is the so great fear. Again, it is not living Arjuna, arises in his heart. So whether I commit to it. On the contrary, Arjuna is the person who said that he will take to miss a life of sannyasa. Krishna is the person who is saying him to fight the war. All right. Now he is talking, Arjuna is questioning that whether means committing to the path of yoga, which is essentially the path of the mendicants, recluse, and he is so much worried about them, whether committing to such path, whether means if it does not fulfill, does not attain it, whether he will be destroyed and deprived of everything else. So this is what Arjuna is saying. So in that state of mind, he is not able to resolve anything. He is non-committal to anything. Now, he is, after saying this, he comes somewhat to his probably whatever he has to express. He has expressed his fear, and he thought then he comes to probably his own self-consciousness, and then he turns toward Krishna, that probably Bhagavan has something to say, and he has interrupted through his question, and it is better to listen from him. And then he says that this is my doubt. Etan me sanshayam Krishna, that which you are able to cut asunder, clear in all its probabilities. Chetum aharsya sheshatah. Chetu maharsya sheshatah. Arhasi means you are capable of. Chetum means you are capable of destroying it, to cut it. Asheshatha, that without any remnants, without any residue. Asheshatha, there is nothing, shesha, that nothing remaining, that my doubt will be absolutely cleared. So this is my doubt, He Krishna. That then he surrenders. And this is beautiful. He says that tvat anyah asya sanshayasya, without, there is no one apart from you. This is now absolute surrender. That there is no one like you. Tvad anya na hi upapadyate. There is nobody. Indeed, hi upapadyate. There is nobody like you. To cut, to destroy my doubt. There is nobody like other than you. Tvat anya. Tvadanya sanshyasyasya chetana hyupapadyate. Hi upapadyate. And this he realizes, Arjun realizes that he is in such a state of mind that he is again and again falling prey to that tamas within his heart. Again and again he is going back to same kinds of ideas. He realizes this very quickly before Krishna could say something, and immediately comes to that consciousness and he says to Bhagwan, immediately regains his idea of self-surrender. That and then very kindly Bhagwan, he says that Partha, that O son of Pritha, Kunti or Prithvi, that and these are the words of assurance. And Bhagwan here, you see, he uses the word also Tata very endearingly. As soon as Arjuna says that Tvadanyah sanshyasyasya chetana yupapadyate, as soon as he regains his self-surrender, he regains back his self-consciousness, that he is unnecessarily blabbering these things, and that Bhagwan is here. And immediately the tone of Krishna is changed. He is very endearingly, he says to him, Shri Bhagwan Vacha. Bhagwan says that Partha naiveha namutra vinashah stasya vidyate nahi kalyana krut kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. Tata, oh my dear, he uses this word. Tata means until now he didn't use this. He says Kaunteya, Mahabaho, Parantapa, all this. First time he uses the word Tata. I will have to check that whether in second chapter he said that Tata or not. But I feel, but very rarely now, but here Krishna's heart is, means it's all that teacher, mother and father rolled into one. For his friend, for the Arjuna. And he gives the words of assurance that do not fear. Do not fear. That na eva iha, not indeed, not also here, but also not there or something after life, after he passes away. Na amutra means after life. He Partha, naiveha namutra vinashaha tasya vidyate. For such a person, that there is no destruction. For such a person, nothing is destroyed. For of that person, tasya, of that person, tasya vinashaha na vidyate. There is no destruction. For such a person, that no need to fear. It is not that he is lost from everything. And he says, no, he indeed, again he says, indeed, kalyana krut, that on the path of dharma, that if you are doing something right, kalyana krut, kaschit, for durgatim, there is no durgati, O Partha, O my dear one. So whatever person, if he is doing something right, there is no whatsoever durgati for such a person. He will not go by, there will be no durgati for such a person. He is not lost. So these are the words of assurance from Bhagavan. So no need to fear, that I can assure you. You do not have to worry. You do not have to think that he will sleep, he will not from the path, he will digress from the path, he will fail, and he will not be able to control the mind. You do not have to worry about that. And he will continue this idea. So the idea of the spiritual development, spiritual evolution, this spiritual practice, this ambition to fulfill, that it is not a small mean task. And that's why Bhagavan says, not only here, but not also there. There means after life, after living, nothing is destroyed. Nothing is destroyed. No need to worry. And what does it mean? He continues. He says, Prapya punya krutam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga bhrashto abhijayate. So he says, few of the fruits of such a person who cannot attain this yoga, who had committed himself to that path, but could not, because yoga chalita manasa, because his mind slipped from the path of yoga. So he says he will attain to such worlds, such lokas, which are attained by punya krutam. So to such world that person attains, he goes to such places where people go by doing lots of merits. Dharma, yajna, dana, ityadi. Punya krutam. So he attains to such places, he goes there. And having dwelt there, ushitva, having lived there, means by consuming the fruits of his good action, ushitva, shashvati samaha, so that having attained that eternal, for many, many long years, by enjoying its fruit, having quenched and satisfied all his desires. Then he says, Shuchinam, that there are Shrimatam Gehe, there are wealthy, prosperous families who are also good natured, of good character, of good sanskara. In such a family, this yoga bhrashta person, the person who is fallen from the path of the yoga, he takes birth. This is what he says. What happens to that person? He says that if a person, without attaining this yoga samsiddhim, aprapya yoga samsiddhim, he dies, so to say, and then he goes to this path, these places, these worlds, which are attained by doing lots of merit, punya krutam lokan, he attains to them. And after staying there eternally, so meaning that not in the literal sense, for as if eternally, for many, many years, shashvati samaha, after staying there, for enjoying the fruits of his actions and satisfied and quench his all desires, he is born in the family of prosperous, pure, and good nature, good charactered people. The one who has been this yoga bhrashta abhijayate. He takes birth in such families. And otherwise, he says there is another option, athva yoginam eva kule, that he is born in the family of, means very intelligent and with having this lot of wisdom in the family of yogis. He is born in the family of yogis. Athva yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. And these kinds of birth, etad hi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrusham, that these things are very rare to attain in this life, to be born in such families. So this is what he says, Bhagavan Krishna says, assures Arjuna in various ways, that he will not be lost. He will not be lost. And two kinds of possibilities. He says that this will happen. But ultimately in both cases, that is wonderful, that he will have to take birth. If there are probably more desires, he will take the birth in the families of the prosperous people. But he will also, those are not only simply prosperous, they are very good natured, good charactered people who have Shraddha, Bhakti, and faith in the Dharma. So he will continue his progress in that way. But he has more disposed towards spirituality and spiritual life and spiritual practice, then probably he will be born in the families of yogis. In such families where people have attained spiritual heights, he will be born in such families. Athva yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam, that in the families of the very intelligent, very wise, spiritually wise, and who are more spiritually disposed, and in whose families there were such people. So, but now, afterwards, from 43rd verse, there is more interesting portion of this talk of where Bhagavan is carrying forward this idea that what happens. So after taking birth, so for example, I tell you, so among these two possibilities, there might be various things. I will tell about myself. So I was not born in very prosperous, very wealthy family. No, I was not. So I was not the first possibility. But in my families, there were people. So even my father's mother, or from my mother's grandfather, I heard stories about him, that he had very substantially progressed in the path of yoga. That I had heard from my grandfather, from my mother's father, that he was such a person that he used to wake up very early in the morning, because my grandfather's father, my grandfather, they were very young when their father died. So they do not know much about them, but just as much they had heard from others. So one of the things which I heard from my grandfather, so he used to wake up very early in the morning. Very early in the morning means like 3 a.m. And then he used to walk several kilometers. There is that river in their village. It is called as Wardha River, on the name of which there is a district, Wardha district, near Nagpur. That river is in our side of that Maharashtra. Those rivers are not very big. Small rivers are there, but this is quite a river. It's that water bed. It's quite large, and it is very forceful river. That is another thing. It is very forceful. I do not know how in the plains, because in mountains you have forceful rivers, but this is current is very strong. I have seen it. Now this Vardha river, his village was there, and now in the that very early in the morning, he used to walk now the distance to go at a certain point up the river. Okay, and there he used to jump in the river. There is to jump in the river, and then he used to take a kind of a samadhi and floating on the river with Padmasana. He used to float on the river, and he used to literally that he used to go into samadhi, and he used to then flow along with the current of the river. That river, so he had to walk a lot of distance. So by the time sun breaks, so that body is to come floating near his village, and then by that time his samadhi is to break, and they is to swim and come across and go into his village. So that what he used to do, this I heard from my grandfather, of course. So, and which he had heard from the other elders of the family. So meaning that, so these things, so to say, so what it can be, so where from this help, individual help comes, and athva yogi name eva kule bhavati dhimatam. And yes, he was also famous for his intelligence and math skills, and he was very widely respected for his character. And once upon a time, due to poverty, he had to work in a wine shop, but nonetheless it is said that nobody ever doubted his character. So people used to have respect for him. So this kind so just for this example, I was reminded of the stories which I was told. So these things are there, and how afterward. So this is one of the possibility. Athva yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. Etad hi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrusham. So Bhagwan is saying, so these kinds of birth are very rare to be born in such families. So what happens then? So there are wonderful verses, and which will explain us how this spiritual progress takes place. This verse is very important, that with this we can make sense of the things. So far then, so good. We will take a break here, and we will continue in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.